From the Universal Tarot. 6. The Lovers. A man and a woman stand together beneath a radiant angel in the clouds. The woman stands before the tree of knowledge, with its apples and serpent of wisdom. The man stands before the tree of life, which bears flames but is not consumed by the fire. The woman and the angel are in communion. Her willingness to pay the price for wisdom has connected her to higher powers. Her left hand is open upward, receptive to heavenly energies, while the man's left hand is open downward, drawing energy from, and returning it to, the earth. He can't see the angel and must trust the woman's vision and honor her intuition. These two lovers may not seem to be particularly connected, but the angel's outstretched arms enclose them both in an embrace, and the mountain between them in the distance is their common goal, the attainment of earthly bliss. They balance each other. His gifts are strength and endurance, hers are adaptability and courage. The lovers are naked before each other and before the divine. They have nothing to hide because they are authentically themselves. What happens to them next depends on the choices they make, but they will make them together. Universal message. A choice is presented to you, the consequences which will decide how your path unfolds from this point. Follow your heart. From the Initiatory Tarot of the Golden Dawn. The Lovers. The Sixth Key. The 17th Path. The magical title of this card is Children of the Voice Divine, the Oracles of the Mighty Gods. The path of the lovers connects Tiphareth, the solar center of the higher self, to Bina, the great sea of the superconscious. It is the understanding of beauty as well as the production of beauty and sovereignty. Saturn acting through Gemini upon Soul. The affection between the lovers is not sexual in nature, rather it is the divine love of the twins of Gemini for each other. This is the uniting of the sun, male, and moon, female energies, or polarities within the initiate. They are the conscious and the subconscious, mirror images which join together and are absorbed back into the mirror, the great sea of Bina. This card is a picture of the reconstruction of the Garden of Eden. It is the joining of the two great contending forces in the spiritual body of the initiate for the purpose of divine union. In this card, the figure of a woman is shown chained to a rock and about to be devoured by a sea monster. She is Andromeda of Greek mythology. From the sky, the hero Perseus descends to rescue the maiden. Andromeda here represents the lower self or personality shackled to the rock of mortality and the material realm. The warrior Perseus acts as the higher self who frees the personality through integration, for it is the descent of the higher self which liberates and illuminates. The Hebrew letter attributed to this card is Zayin, which means sword. In this case, it is the liberating sword of victory. Its number is 7, which also refers to Netzach and to Venus, the goddess of love. The sword of Perseus is a weapon of the will, showing that this is a fiery, active, and calculated path that is not undertaken by accident. The lower and higher selves willfully fuse together to plunge across the abyss, a kind of lover's leap, into the greater glory of the one source of all. Of course, it is not possible to fully comprehend this path and still live. The dragon threatens, yet also initiates and brings about the divine marriage of the lovers. Interpretation in a tarot reading. Inspiration. Passive and in some cases mediumistic. Motive, power, and action arising from inspiration and impulse. From the Science Tarot. Binary Star. 6. The Lovers. The two stars orbit each other in a delicate balance of gravitational attraction and angular momentum. A bit closer together and they would crash into each other. A bit further apart and they would be flung in opposite directions. These two heavenly bodies together, pushing and pulling each other as they spin, can form the center of a single solar system of orbiting planets. The lovers have reached the point of balance, and together the two separate stars form one radiant entity. This powerful relationship is represented by an infinity symbol and a fierce heart of fire, signifying a passionate romance, intimate relationships, and the weighty choices they demand. From the Tarot of Shadows, Arcana 6, Baal Berith, Lord of the Covenant. Arcana 6 is associated with the concept of twins, which originates from the disparity between the body and the soul in a single embodiment. When entering a body, the soul adjusts to the shape of the body, but does not integrate with the flesh. That is why a person is dualistic. The twins theory is as old as the world. An individual has many twins, a shadow, a reflection, and the inner self, as the person himself or herself includes several antipodes. This reality generates hard contradictions, with the one between good and evil being the most classic of all. In fact, this split is actually evident. The energy body surrounds the physical one. When the astral and the physical bodies separate, death occurs. Sometimes it so happens that people see their twin in front of them, capturing the moment when the astral body is leaving the physical one. When this process is completed, death is imminent, for it is said, to see your twin means soon you'll die. This card depicts not just a person facing a twin, but a wall fencing off a twin. It must be noted that in the card sequence, Baal Berith follows Ahriman for a reason. We remember that the soul is forced out of the flesh in the card of Ahriman. But the flesh suffers without its twin soul and searches for it desperately. Baal Berith appears in the card to allow the flesh to regain the soul. At last, flesh and soul unify. Baal Berith is the Lord of agreements. All contracts, including contracts with the devil, are signed under his supervision. Having gone through sufferings, the flesh and soul kneel before each other, exchanging prayers for life and reunification. It is worthy to note one more distinctive detail. The demon himself is not shown in the card of Baal Berith, but its plot implicates his name. The flesh and the soul cannot see the demon, but are aware of his presence and control over the situation. Therefore, the card is a symbol of agreement. It is on the agreement all hopes are put, since in case of successful resolution, it will create a new destiny for all. Suffering will remain in the past if they manage to agree on a mutual commitment. Card meaning: union, duality, a partnership, choosing one of two divergent paths, a love triangle, a business deal, emotional equilibrium, cooperation, reciprocity, entering into an important contract or agreement, negotiation, conflict resolution and reunification, prudence and diplomacy. Advice: when this arcana shows up in a reading, it is advisable to get another card to clarify if the agreement will have a positive or negative effect. From the Osho Zen Tarot. 6. The Lovers. What we call love is really a whole spectrum of relating, reaching from the earth to the sky. At the most earthly level, love is sexual attraction. Many of us remain stuck there because our conditioning has burdened our sexuality with all kinds of expectations and repressions. Actually, the biggest problem with sexual love is that it never lasts. Only if we accept this fact can we then really celebrate it for what it is, welcome its happening, and say goodbye with gratitude when it's not. Then, as we mature, we can begin to experience the love that exists beyond sexuality and honors the unique individuality of the other. We begin to understand that our partner often functions as a mirror, reflecting unseen aspects of our deeper self and supporting us to become whole. This love is based in freedom, not expectation or need. Its wings take us higher and higher towards the universal love that experiences all as one. These three things are to be taken note of. The lowest love is sex. It is physical, and the highest refinement of love is compassion. Sex is below love. Compassion is above love. Love is exactly in the middle. Very few people know what love is. 99% of people, unfortunately, think sexuality is love. It is not. Sexuality is very animal. It certainly has the potential of growing into love, but it is not actual love, only a potential. If you become aware and alert, meditative, then sex can be transformed into love. And if your meditativeness becomes total, absolute, love can be transformed into compassion. Sex is the seed, love is the flower, compassion is the fragrance. Buddha has defined compassion as love plus meditation. When your love is not just a desire for the other, when your love is not only a need, when your love is a sharing, but when your love is not that of a beggar but of an emperor, when your love is not asking for something in return, but is ready only to give for the sheer joy of giving, then add meditation to it, and the pure fragrance is released. That is compassion. Compassion is the highest phenomenon.